Hi, Lorrie here on Vancouver Island. Thank you for joining me in the kitchen. I am cooking with Thrive again. So I'm actually cooking with a combination of Thrive and fresh food, and I'm going to make some kind of something. If you hear Gail in the background, that's because I have her running. I have her channel going in the other room. I'm catching up on some of her lives and some of her streams that I've missed lately because it's been crazy busy around here. Summertime is a busy time around here. And work has picked up again, so I have a really big project coming up over the next several weeks, probably the next 10 to 12 weeks. It's gonna eat up another big chunk of my time. But anyway, we're here in the kitchen today and we're making something. I have a recipe over here, and this is from a new book that I got. It's called The Complete Book of Small Batch Preserving. Anyway, so I say this is about 1.5 cups, and I'm going to actually measure and see how close I am to that. 1.5 cups to 2 cups. Oh, it's definitely 2 cups. There's one. Yeah, that's 2 cups. Pretty close to it anyway. So that's 2 cups of rhubarb, if you're paying attention, because I don't. Anyway, we're experimenting and it's gonna have sugar, so I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Anyway, 2 cups of that, and then I've got a few of these freeze-dried strawberries that Mom hasn't gotten to. Let's see how many we have of those. Have about 1 cup of that. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna take the powder out of the bottom, so that's about 1 cup. Now this recipe that I have calls for 5 cups of strawberries, so here we go with some more. Like I'm counting my rhubarb as strawberry. But so that's 3 cups. I still need another couple cups of strawberries. So we're gonna open this up, and I gotta tell you, these Thrive strawberries, they are just beautiful. Look at how beautiful those are. I know that my lighting in here is not that great. Let's go over where the lighting is better. Look at how beautiful those strawberries are. Just wonderful. And let's taste one. On camera. Oh my gosh. You could seriously eat those like candy. So many things you can do with them. And I'm going to grab a cup of them. I'm going to put a cup of these strawberries, and then I'm also going to try the raspberries, and we're going to put a cup of those in. And this calls for frozen pineapple juice concentrate, but I've got some of this Thrive pineapple that I'm going to use and put in there. So let's get back to it and we'll throw this together. We have strawberries, we have raspberries, and we have pineapple. Now this, you can tell these pineapple chunks are older because of the packaging. They've totally changed the packaging. These were freeze-dried in 2013, but I tell you what, they are just as delicious as they were that day. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and check out my video on dehydrated pineapple. And what a disaster that was. It was awful. But I love this. It is so good. And I'm going to get back to cooking. Okay, so we want another cup of strawberry. Oh, the raspberries are already open. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the last of those. And put that on the stove. And throw in a little bit of my pineapple. And I'm gonna get some water. This is just filtered water from my fridge. I'm pouring about a cup in there. I don't know, that might be too much, but if it is, I can always cook it down, right? Right. Can you see that? Almost. Yeah, so I'm going to turn my temperature on just low. And I'm just going to let this stuff cook and refresh and yeah, we'll see what happens. Remember how I was talking about the difference between the pineapple from the Thrive and the dehydrated? Well, let me show you. I still have this in the refrigerator because I do like to use it in my tea. But look at this. This is a piece of dehydrated pineapple. This is now crispy. And I guess you can chomp on it. That's not a horrible flavor anymore, but look at the difference between the freeze-dried and the dehydrated. Big difference. Big difference. So even though this is still cooking and it's cooking down, I've decided to go ahead and throw in my other ingredients. At least, you know, what this recipe calls for. So, well, not quite, because I'm going to add some of this pectin, some of this apple pectin. I'm going to sprinkle in a tablespoon of that. And now I don't know if the proper term for it is apple pectin. It's actually dehydrated apple skins that I ground up into a powder. I think I have a video on it way back when, last year sometime. But if you look at my In the Kitchen playlist, I'm sure that it's there. It only calls for 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. But that rhubarb is going to be super sour because I don't even know if it was completely ripe. I don't know. It didn't taste ripe when I tried to taste it, and it hasn't seemed to ripen in the fridge. And so if anybody knows how you ripen rhubarb, if you cut it too soon, and oh my gosh, I have to get that video up. I taped a video the other day of how huge my rhubarb is, but I don't think it's ripe. It's got huge giant leaves. Anyway, we're going to start with, that's a quarter. We're going to go with a half a teaspoon, or a half a teaspoon, a half a cup of sugar in there. And let me grab some vanilla. Now, this, of course, is my homemade vanilla. Ignore the packaging on it. It's just alcohol and vanilla beans. It's been soaking since, gosh, I don't know, like November or something. I have a video on it. Seems like I've done a video on a lot of the stuff I've done in the kitchen. Anyway, I have a big bottle of it that just sits and soaks. What does my recipe call for? Calls for a half a teaspoon, so that is what I'm going to use. Half a teaspoon. I'm going to measure it. My cat's freaking out again. Her toy must have gotten lost. Oh, if only they had smell-o-vision. No more hint of alcohol that you can even smell in there. It just smells like pure vanilla. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let's see. She's distracting me though. Anyway, where was I? So, This is going to cook for a while. We're going to bring it up to a bubble. I'm actually going to bring the temperature up a little bit. I'm going to bring it up to a bubble, and then I'm going to turn it down to a simmer for at least a half an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll check it again. The recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of grated lemon rind. Now, I don't have any grated lemon rind, but I do have some dehydrated lemons. And yes, those are lemons, and apparently it's normal for them to turn that color. But I'm going to throw that into my spice grinder. Maybe I'll break it into a couple pieces first, but I'm going to grind that in my spice grinder, and then I'm going to toss that in there, and we're going to call it good. And oh my gosh, it is smelling wonderful. Again, the smell-o-vision. You can just hit that hint of pineapple in there. Oh my gosh, and that little bit of rhubarb. It's still a little bit runny, and I'm actually going to, now that it started to bubble, and it's been bubbling for about 5 or 6 minutes, I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to put a cover over it, and I'm going to let it simmer for a little bit longer. Okay, we're going to taste it. Still a bit tart, but it has got some good flavor. I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup. No, maybe like 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar, and call that good. And well, I'll taste it again in a little bit, but yeah. Here is my beautiful jam. It turned out just fabulous. It's a little tart, but it's very sweet. It thickened up really nicely with that that natural apple pectin. And I'm now going to put it in some jars. I'm not going to can it. I'm just going to freeze it. Should be okay to freeze, but I'm just going to put it in some jars and get some of it into the freezer and put some of it into something that we can eat from, because it is really yummy.